Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Caitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam tam sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tvise Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, we are continuing our reading of Sri Caitanya Bhāgavata by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. We are reading from the Ādi Khaṇḍa, chapter 14, verse number 30 onwards. We are seeing how Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu is around 16 years old. He is married to Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi, and he is living at home with his good wife, Sri Lakshmi Priya Devi, and his loving mother, Srimati Shachi Devi. Three of them are living together. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Gaura Sundar, is a Sanskrit Vyakaran teacher. He is the most popular teacher in Navadvip and also the most learned. He has got thousands of students, and every day 1 or 2 dozen more students keep coming from different parts of the country to learn under him. He's enjoying his Vidya Vilas Leela, his scholastic pastimes. At the same time, he's an ideal Grahastha. Every day he invites 10 to 20 sannyasis, and Srimati Shachi Mata and Sri Lakshmi Priya Devi very happily cook for them and they serve them, offering great hospitality. Mukta, can you chant Hare Krishna once again? Just chant Hare Krishna, please.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you, Muktasanga Prabhu. Sorry for the interruption. Hare Krishna. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the ideal grihastha, and he is very hospitable. That's what we were reading last time, that he invites sannyasis, sadhus, and he serves them with great hospitality. And we saw how the hospitality was. Although he was apparently not very affluent, simple Brahman, Srinimai Pandit, but he always had means to serve the sadhus. And here in verse number 30, it is said that Keha keha ito madhye kahe anya katha se annera yogya anye nahaya sarvatha. So the statement made by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is that the foodstuffs that were cooked by Srimati Shachi Mata and Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi on the order of Sri Nimai Pandit for the service of these atithis. We saw the difference between atithi and abhyagat. And the foodstuffs were so wonderful that they were even desired by Lord Brahma. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying. So then, केह केह इतो मध्य कहे अन्य कथा से अन्य योग्य अन्य नाहय सर्वथा. So if even Lord Brahmaji is desiring these foodstuffs that are being cooked in the house of Sri Nimai Pandit, then how is it possible for ordinary persons of this world, ordinary persons of the earthly plane, to partake of these rare foodstuffs cooked by Lakshmi Priya Devi and Shachi Mata? How is it possible for these ordinary sadhus who are just roaming around to get them? How is it possible? Verses 31 and 32. Brahma Shiva Shukavyas Narad Adi Kari Sura Siddha Adi Jata Swachanda Vihari Lakshmi Narayana Avatirna Navadvipe Jani Sabe Aisena Bhikshu Kera Rupe. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying, Brahmaji, Shivaji, Shri Shukadev Goswami, Srila Vyasadev, Shripad Narad Muni, as well as the different demigods and siddhas who travel according to their own desire, all knew that Lakshmi and Narayan have appeared in Shri Navadvip as Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu and Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi. They therefore all visited Shri Nimai Pandit's house to beg alms in the form of mendicants. So these were not ordinary people. Ordinary people, ordinary jivas cannot participate in the Leela of the Supreme Lord. Not possible. These are very special devotees who have come to participate. Anyatha se sthane jai bar shaktikar Brahma adi vina ki se anna paye ar. Otherwise, who else has the power to visit his house? And who other than personalities like Lord Brahma can receive such foodstuffs? Because Nimai Pandit himself is serving the guests. So these cannot be ordinary people who have come as guests. I was talking to a very advanced devotee one time, and she was saying that on Bahulashtami, she had gone with some devotees to Sri Radhakund at midnight. And they were sitting and chanting and doing kirtan and reading different prayers. And she is a very advanced devotee. And she was saying that she actually saw people were coming to take their dip in Radhakund, and they were taking dip and then they were just disappearing. They would not come up. She herself, she was saying, she saw this. So certainly these are demigods who come, and to very fortunate people, they give their darshan. So they were coming because they also want to take bath in the holiest of all holy place, the holiest of all holy places, Sri Radhakund. So here there is praman in the Shastra in Sri Caitanya Bhāgavata that these great demigods like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Shripad Narad Muni, Shri Shukadev Goswami, Srila Vyasadev, they are coming because Srila Vyasadev has to write about all this Gaur Leela later on. So he is coming. And he's, of course, he has come as Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur himself. Keha bole dukhite tarite avatar sarvamate dukhite re karena nistar. Someone else said, the Lord has incarnated to deliver. Yeah. Prabhuji, can you chant Hare Krishna just 1 second?
Yes, sure, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Thank you, Muktasana Prabhu.
Rama Hare Hare.
Sorry for the interruption. Again. Yes. So, Keha bole dukhite tarite avatar sarvamate dukhite re karena nistar. Someone else said, the Lord has incarnated to deliver the distressed, and he therefore employs various means for their deliverance. That's why he is inviting them for nice prasad. Verses 35, 36, 37. Brahma adi devajar anga prati anga sarvatha tahara ishwarera nitya sanga tathapi pratignatar ei avatare brahmadi durlabhak dimu sakala jivere ataiva dukhitere ishwara apane nija grihe annadena uddhara karane. The demigods headed by Lord Brahma are born from the limbs of the Supreme Lord. We have seen this in Srimad Bhāgavata. And they are always associated with the Lord. Demigods are ones who are always assisting Vishnu. They are always favorable to Lord Vishnu. They are devotees. And those who are not are called demons. There are two classes of people. Demigods and demons. Devatas and Daityas. So they are always associated with the Lord. Still in this incarnation, the Supreme Lord has promised to give that which is rarely attained even by Brahma. Brahmadi durlabha dimu sakala jivere. This is a statement of Supreme Lord. I will give that which is even inaccessible to Lord Brahma. Atyanta durlabha prem kori baredan. Therefore, the Lord personally fed the distressed in his house in order to deliver them. Can you imagine the power of that prasad? Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu worshipped the Gomati Shila, which is the Dwarka Shila. And he also worshipped the Gandaki Shila, that is Shaligram Shila. Adhokshaja deity, a Chaturbhuj Murti of Lord Narayan, was the family deity of Nimai. He had a Damodar Shaligram Shila and he had a Dwarka Shila. These three were the family deities of Nimai Vishwambar. Shaligram Shila, Dwarka Shila, and Chaturbhuj Narayan Murti called Adhokshaja Vishnu. And this Adhokshaja Vishnu deity was discovered by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur when he began the construction at Yoga Peeth. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj identified that place, and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, he built the temple there. And when the excavation was going on to build the foundation, they found the Adhokshaja deity there, confirming that this was indeed the place of the original house of Jagannath Mishra and Shachi Mata. So these are the deities of Nimai. And his mother and beloved wife, they are cooking with so much devotion. Mahaprabhu himself is offering it to Thakurji. And then he is, with love, feeding the guests. What is the power of that? So that's what Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying. Ekeshwara Lakshmi Devi kare na randhana tathapiyo parama ananda yukta mana Lakshmi ra charitra dekhi shachi bhagyavati dande dande ananda visheshe pade ati. Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi cooked alone, yet she felt supremely blissful. As the fortunate mother Shachi Devi observed the character of Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi, her joy increased every hour of the day. In the purport, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada writes, Lakshmi Devi happily cooked alone for everyone, without the help of her mother-in-law. Thus, seeing the character of her daughter-in-law, Shri Shachi Devi's joy increased at every moment. So Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi was doing parishram. She was working hard to please Shri Nimai. She was cooking It is not comfortable to cook. In those days, there was no piped gas that you just turn the knob and gas comes, and just turn the knob and there's fire. No, you had to actually light fire. You had to get dry wood to light it, or cow dung patties. And there was no exhaust fan where all the smoke goes away. It used to get smoky and hot in the kitchen. And you have to sit there and blow. You cannot just turn the knob to adjust the strength of the flame. You have to either put more wood so that the flame increases. If you want to decrease it, you have to put a little bit water, not too much. Not so much water that will douse the entire fire. So all these things were there. There was no packets and bottles of masalas that you could buy from the market. Every ingredient you have to take, grind it, and keep it and use it fresh. So cooking was a lot of hard work. It was much more difficult than what it is today. You have to sit down and cook. You cannot stand and cook like today, so comfortable. You can even take a chair, sit on a high chair and cook. No. You have to sit down in the chulha and cook. So it was a lot of hard work. And Srimati Lakshmipriya Devi was cooking with so much love, without any help. And this really pleased Srimati Shachi Mata. Usha kala haite Lakshmi jata griha karma apane karena sab eitaro dharma. Beginning from sunrise, Srimati Lakshmipriya Devi would personally perform all the household chores as her religious duty, as her dharma. Apane karena sab eitaro dharma. Dharma is a very deep word. Dharma means our not just occupation or occupational duty, but dharma means our very nature. So it was the nature of Srimati Lakshmipriya Devi to do what is pleasing to Shri Nimai Vishwambar. How beautiful is that? In the purport, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ji writes, in order to increase the happiness of her husband, Shri Nimai, and to satisfy her respected mother-in-law, Srimati Shachi Mata, the chaste wife, Shri Lakshmipriya Devi, performed all the household duties while considering herself the maid-servant of the Lord. As the ideal housewife, Srimati Lakshmipriya Devi personally performed all of the Lord's household duties, beginning from early morning till late night. Hare Krishna. This was not done just as a matter of duty, out of love. Out of love, because clearly says, in order to increase the happiness of her husband. Srila Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur writes clearly, Deva grihe karena ye swastika mandali shankha chakra likhena hayya kutuhali. Srimati Lakshmipriya Devi would decorate the floor of the temple. Temple means a room in the house, which was the deity room. She would decorate the temple of the Lord with drawings of swastikas, shankha, conch shells, and chakra discs. Devagriha karena ye swastika mandali shankha chakra likhena hayya kutuhali. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada writes, I'm going to read this, just listen carefully. This is very interesting. Please listen carefully. The phrase, because see, this is our culture, Vaishnava culture. And many of us, at least I did not know this. So let's read, very nice. The phrase swastika mandali refers to the drawing of circles or smearing and drawing pictures on Vishnu's temple for his worship. Their characteristics are described in the following Vedic statement quoted in Sri Hari Bhakti Vilas, 4th Vilas. Quote, a worshipper of Vishnu should draw a square within each of the four corners. For the four, northeast, southeast, northwest, and southwest of the Lord's temple. Divide each square into 16 squares. Then fill each square with white, yellow, red, and black colored powders. This is called swastika. Swastika, the drawing of circles and their glories, are described in the Vishnu Dharmottara. Vishnu Dharmottara is a Puranic literature as follows, quote, one who is intelligent should draw various mandalas such as Sarvato Bhadra and Padmas and various wonderful swastikas in the temple of Sri Hari. In the Narasimha Puran, it is stated, one should joyfully cleanse and decorate the temple of Sri Vishnu by drawing various mandalas like Padmas and swastikas with different attractive colors. In the Skanda Puran, concerning the month of Kartik, it is stated, one who draws various shapes like Sarvatobhadras with clay or other minerals in front of Lord Keshav resides in heaven for 100 kalpas. So of course our aim is not to go to Swargalok, not to go to heaven, but these statements are there in the Shastras to encourage people in general. So we should also feel encouraged. This is pleasing Krishna. If we do this, this will please Radha and Krishna. One who draws auspicious swastikas in front of Shaligram, especially in the month of Kartik, purifies 7 generations of his family. This is all quotation from the Skanda Purana. A woman who regularly draws mandalas before Lord Keshava does not become a widow for the next 7 births. A woman who draws mandalas with cow dung before Lord Keshava is never separated from her husband, children, or wealth. One who decorates the courtyard of Lord Vishnu's temple with various colorful swastikas and pictures enjoys the highest happiness within the 3 worlds. It is stated in the Naradiya Puran, a person who draws mandalas in the temple of Vishnu with either clay, various minerals, various colors, or cow dung attains the form of a demigod who flies in an airplane. In the Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya, another Puranic literature, it is said, one who smears cow dung in the temple of Vishnu and draws colorful pictures on it happily resides in the abode of Vishnu, where the residents look on him with welcome glances. Now listen. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada is writing, there was a Vishnu temple in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's house. Within the temple, the worshipable Sri Narayan forms of Gandaki Shila, Shaligram Shila, and Gomati Chakra Shila, Dwaraka Shila, were situated as the family deities. To decorate the inside of the temple with auspicious signs like swastika, Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi drew shapes like conch shells, chakra throughout the temple, such as on the foundation and on the walls inside. So Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi was decorating the temple of Lord Vishnu. Verse number 42. Gandha pushpa dhupa deepa suvasita jala Ishwara pujara sajja karena sakala. Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi arranged gandha, sandalwood paste, pushpa, flowers, dhupa, incense, deepa, ghee lamp, suvasita jal, scented fragrant water like kevda water or rose water for the worship of Lord Vishnu. Pujara sajja karena sakala. Now, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is giving a lot of nice cultural information. So, I'm going to read a small paragraph. In the purport, Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada writes, following the scriptural and social norms of that time, every Bengali Brahman's wife would collect ingredients like sandalwood paste, flowers, ghee lamps, incense, and scented water for the worship of Lord Narayan. But nowadays, in some provinces of India, the Brahmanas hailing from Bengali Brahman communities do not accept water touched or brought by their own wives for the service of the Lord. Saraswati Thakur is saying, this is against the scriptures. You can see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself was accepting from his wife. Niravadhi tulasira karena sevana tatodhika Shachira Sevaya Taramana. Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi did something else. What was that? She Niravadhi Tulasira Karena Sevana. She Lakshmi Priya Devi constantly served Tulasi. Which means if it is hot summer, 2 times, 3 times watering, bowing down to Tulsi, chanting different mantras to Tulsi, circumambulating Tulsi Maharani. She constantly served Tulsi. And Tatodhika Sachira Sevaya Taraman. And more than Tulsi, she served Srimati Shachi Mata. Tata Adhika. More than Tulsi Seva, she used to do Shachi Seva. Srila Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur writes, the worshippers of Lord Vishnu greatly respect Tulsi Devi. Please know that Vishnu is a name of Krishna. The worshippers of Lord Vishnu, Yatha Radha Priya Vishnus. So Vishnu is a name of Krishna. The worshippers of Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna greatly respect Tulasi Devi as one of the ingredients for Lord's service and therefore most intimate with the Lord. Shri Lakshmi Priya Devi spent more time in serving her mother-in-law, Shri Gaura's mother, than in serving Tulsi Devi. Those who pretend to be acharyas while holding a tulsi plant in one hand and a pipe for smoking intoxicants in the other should properly follow the ideal example of serving Tulsi Devi said by Shri Gaura Lakshmi Priya. And yet, knowing the Lord as the best of those devoted to their mothers, Matru Bhakta Shiromani. Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi. So see, look at this. Knowing the Lord as the best of those devoted to their mothers, Shri Lakshmi Priya Devi, the Lord's wife, established that her service with awe and reverence to her mother-in-law was superior to the affectionate service of Tulsi Devi, who is the maid servant of Gaura, and was non-different from service to her husband. This is real devotee, who understands the heart of the Lord. What will please the Lord? Anukullena Krishna Anukshilanam Bhakti Uttama. This is Uttama Bhakti. To always think of Samsiddhir Hari Toshanam. What will please my beloved? This vichar, this thought process, what will please my Lord? What will please my Lord? This is the thought of a devotee, always. Lakshmira Charitra Dekhi Shri Gaura Sundara Mukhe Kichu Na Bale Na Santosha Antara. Seeing Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi's excellent behavior, Shri Gaura Sundar did not comment, yet he was satisfied within. So in those days, people did not express like that. It was even in the recent times, I have seen that in cultured families, when the husband, he goes to the office, the wife goes to the balcony of the house or to the front of the house to say bye-bye. Always. Not that the wife is sitting watching TV and the husband is taking the suitcase and saying, okay, I'm going to the office now to work. Yeah, okay, see you. See ya later. So, see you later, alligator. Not like that. They would go. So they would stand I have seen this. They would go and stand in the balcony of the house, and the husband comes down, and now is, getting in the car or whatever, and then pulls out like this, and the wife is watching from the balcony. The husband is going, and the husband will look at the balcony, and the wife will do like this. Not like this in front of everybody. Bye, love you. Not like that. Just like this. Like this. Just the cultured families. They will not do public display of affection. So similarly, here clearly says, Lakshmira Charitra Dekhi Shri Gaura Sundara Mukhe Kichu Na Bale Na Santosha Antara. He didn't say anything, but inside he was internally very happy. Purport. Seeing Shri Lakshmi Priya Devi's greater faith in and eagerness for the service of his mother, the Lord approved within his mind and was quite satisfied. Although due to social injunctions and embarrassment, the Lord did not externally or publicly approve the actions of his wife. See, clearly it says. Although due to social injunctions and embarrassment, the Lord did not externally or publicly approve the actions of his wife. His non-duplicitous, heartfelt mercy on Lakshmi Priya Devi was seen in her activities of serving the Lord by collecting ingredients for Vishnu's service, serving Tulsi, serving his mother, who was the personification of pure goodness. Kona dina Lakshmi lai Prabhura charana vasiya takena pada tale anukshana. Some days, Shri Lakshmi Priya Devi would sit and hold Shri Nimai's lotus feet for hours. For hours. Pada Sevanam. Because Lakshmi Devi represents the limb of bhakti called Pada Sevanam. To reveal within this world the glories and opulences of serving the lotus feet of Gaura Narayan, Shri Lakshmi Priya Devi, who is attached to the service in the mood of awe and reverence. So Lakshmi Priya Devi, Vaikuntha mood, awe and reverence. Often exhibited pastimes as maid servant of Gaura by holding Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu's lotus feet on her lap for hours. Adbhuta dekhena shachi putra pada tale mahajyotir maya agni punja shikha jwale. Mother Shachi sometimes saw brilliant effulgent flames emanating from the feet of her son. This is the opulence of the Lord. Flames, effulgent 5 flames of fire emanating from the lotus feet of the Lord. Shachi Devi understood that her son was directly Lord Vishnu. Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada writes. Verse 47. Kona dina mahapadma gandha shachi ai, ghare dware sarvatra payena antanai. Another day, Shri Shachi Devi smelled the fragrance of lotus flower. Kona dina mahapadma gandha shachi ai. Mother Shachi, Shachi ai means mother. She smelled fragrance of lotus flowers throughout the house. Ghare dware sarvatra payena antanai. There was no end to the fragrance. Henamate Lakshmi Narayana Navadvipe Kehanahi Chinena Achena Gudha Rupe. As Lakshmi Narayan secretly lived in Navadvip in this way, no one was able to recognize them. But Shachi Mata would sometimes be bewildered. Flames emanating from the lotus feet of Nimai, fragrance of lotuses everywhere in the house. Tabe kato dine icha. Now see, the whole plot is going to change. Verse 49. तबे कत दिने इच्छामय भगवान बांग्लादेश देखिते हईला इच्छातान. After a few days living like this happily with Lakshmi Priya Devi and Shachi Mata, our Ichhamay Bhagwan means the Lord who has his independent desires. Swatantra, Ishvara Krishna. After a few days, the independent Lord desired to visit East Bengal called Bangladesh. And so Bangladesh name is there in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Even Hindu name is there in Chaitanya Bhagavat. And Quran also is there in Chaitanya. So Quran is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita also. So these words are there. Because it's a contemporary, almost contemporary Shastra, written hardly 400 years ago. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat. So it's nice. Although in the ancient Sanskrit Vedic literature, the word Hindu is not there. But Hindu is there in Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita. So after a few days, Lord desired to go to Bangladesh. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives nice history. 2 paragraphs I'll read quickly. Okay, please listen. It's nice. The word Bangladesh is explained as follows. Shri Gaura Sundar exhibited his pastime in Gaudapur, Navadvip, Mayapur. The eastern portion of Gaudadesh, now Bangladesh, is separately addressed as Bangladesh by the residents of Gaudadesh. The celestial Bhagirathi river flows through Gaudadesh. Bhagirathi means Ganga. The northern and eastern provinces of Gauda Navadvip, which consists of east and south banks of the Brahmaputra river, through which flows the main branch of the Ganga, the Padmavati, which merges in the Bay of Bengal. These entire tracts of land were known at that time as Bangladesh. In the book Shakti Sangam Tantra, the border of Bangladesh has been described as follows. The entire tract of land from the Bay of Bengal up to Brahmaputra river is known as Bangladesh. O Parvati, this land bestows on one all perfection. So traditionally it's a very holy place and many great souls have appeared in Bangladesh. Pundarik Vidyanidhi, Srila Narottam Das Thakur, Srila Haridas Thakur, and many others. They have appeared in Bangladesh. Even after the reign of the ancient Pala dynasty and the shifting of the capital of Navadvip and Vikrampur, North Bengal was still known as Varendra. Provinces to the northwest of North Bengal were known as Karna Suvarna. West Bengal was known as Gauda and Rada. The present East Bengal was known as Bangladesh and South Bengal was known as Samantata and Tamrali Pitta. Even in Sanskrit literatures, the east and middle areas of Bengal were addressed as Bangladesh. Abul Fajal, the Prime Minister of Akbar, the Mughal Emperor of Delhi, has written in his history book, Ain-e-Akbari, or the Rule of the Akbar, that the former Hindu kings of Banga surrounded their kingdoms with an ala or mud dike. And therefore the area has become known as Bengal. Verses 50 and 51. Tabe Prabhu janani re balile navani katodina pravasa kariba mata ami Lakshmi prati kahilena Shri Gaura Sundara Mayera sevana tumi karani rantara. Shri Nimai told his mother, "Dear mother, I will go on a journey for a few days." He took permission from his mother to go to Bangladesh, East Bengal. What about Lakshmi Priya Devi? Our Nimai, he went to Lakshmi Priya Devi and said, Mayera sevana tumi kara nirantara. He told Lakshmipriya Devi that you should constantly serve mother. While leaving for Bangladesh, the Lord said to Mother Sachi, I will leave this house and go somewhere else for a few days to collect items for the service of you and the household. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a grihastha, and grihasthas have to work and earn money. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the ideal grihastha, is teaching us. He went to Bangladesh to teach and earn some money so that he can bring it for the service of his mother, his wife, and the family deities. Clearly it is mentioned. I will go somewhere else for a few days to collect items for the service of you and the household. And he said to his wife Lakshmipriya Devi, in my absence, you should perform your duty of serving my mother. Before departing for another province, Lord Nimai entrusted the responsibility of serving Mother Sachi to his wife Lakshmipriya Devi, and then proceeded toward the east to increase his mother's happiness. Tabe Prabhu kata apta shishya vargalaya chalile na Bangladeshe harashita hayya. Then Sri Nimai took some of his disciples with him, students, not disciples, some of his students with him, and happily departed for East Bengal. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, the Lord did not travel alone from Gauda to Eastern Gauda province of Bangladesh. Nimai Pandit, the crest jewel of teachers, was accompanied to East Bengal by many of his favorite students who were residents of Navadvip. Verse 53. Ye ye jana dekhe Prabhu chaliya asite sei ara drishti nahi pare sambarite. Whoever saw the Lord in his travels could not take his eyes off him. Nimai is so attractive that nobody could take their eyes off them. Stri loke dekhiya bale he na putra jar dhanyatara janmatara paye namaskar. When the women, they saw Nimai walking on his way to Bangladesh, they said, glorious is she who has such a son. We offer our obeisances to her. They were praising the good fortune of Mother Shachi. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada writes in the purport, following the footsteps of Shachi Devi, many ladies who worshipped the Lord in the mood of Vatsalya Ras were enthused to serve the Lord in that mood as they looked at him with parental feelings. Yeba bhagyavati hai na pai lena pati stri janma sarthaka kari lena sei sati. Fortunate is she who has such a husband. Some other lady said, fortunate is that woman who has this Nimai Pandit as her husband. The life of that chaste lady has become successful. Stri janma sarthaka karilena sei sati. That chaste lady's life is successful to have husband like Shri Nimai. The married ladies of East Bengal realize the good fortune and perfection of accepting a woman's birth attained by Shri Lakshmipriya Devi, the wife of Gaura. That is the perfection of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada Saraswati Thakur writes, this is the mood of awe and reverence. They did not forget their own constitutional position as eternal separate expansions and attempt to establish abominable, mundane debauchery as worship of Gaura in the order to become Gaura Bhogis or enjoyers of Gaura are the fictitious Gaura Nagaris. Srila Saraswati Thakur writes, there are some people in Bengal, they have conjugal feelings for Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Like the Vraj Gopis have feelings for Shri Krishna, they imitate those feelings and they consider Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as their Nayak, as their hero, and they themselves take the mood of a lady, of the ladies of Navadvip, having love for Shri Gaur Sundar. But that is a concoction, it is not at all bona fide. Because Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never portrayed himself as an enjoyer. But being in Bhakta Bhav, in the mood of a devotee, he is enjoyed. Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu is enjoyed by Krishna. That is the mood. Not that he is the enjoyer and he is going to take on many wives. No, he gave up. He gave up his wife, his good wife, to take sannyas. So we should never become Gaura Nagaris. Gaura Nagaris means they consider Gauranga Mahaprabhu as their husband. And they think that they are ladies, Bengali ladies. That is not bona fide. Absolutely. It's a apasampradaya. It's a completely wrong siddhanta. Ei mata pathe dekhe jata stri purushe puna puna sabe vyakhya karena santoshe. In this way, all the ladies and men who saw Shri Nimai as he passed by, They repeatedly glorified him in full satisfaction. Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada says, Vyakhya Karena indicates that they offered beautiful prayers to the matchless Lord. Deve o karena kamya ye Prabhu dekhite, ye te jane hai na Prabhu dekhe kripa haite. That Lord whom even the demigods desire to see now mercifully appeared before the vision of everyone. This is compassion. Srila Saraswati Thakur writes, out of compassion, the Lord manifested his form, which is rarely seen even by the demigods, and he showed it to the people of Bangladesh. So Bangladesh also became a holy place. Hena mate Gaura Sundar, Hena mate Gaura Sundara dhire dhire, kata dine aile na Padmavati tire. In this way, Shri Gaura Sundar arrived in a few days at the bank of the Padmavati river. There is something very interesting in the purport, so I'm going to read this. Satisfied, please listen carefully. Satisfied by the prayers of the saintly king Bhagirath, Shri Jahanavi Devi appeared from Maya Tirtha, Haridwar, and began flowing east to merge in the ocean. That is Ganga Devi. Some people say that a demon adorned with material knowledge diverted the flow of Bhagirathi into the Padmavati to deprive Bhagirathi from achieving the lotus feet of Gaura. Feeling unhappy as a result, Bhagirathi, means Ganga, flowed by the side of Sri Navadvip Mayapur to serve the lotus feet of Sri Gaura Narayan. This Mayapur is itself the above mentioned Maya Tirtha, Haridwar. Though personally full in 6 opulences after his marriage pastime, Shri Gaura Sundar crossed many villages and eventually arrived on the bank of Padmavati to perform pastimes of accumulating wealth. Nimai came to perform the pastime of accumulating wealth. Important for Grahasthas to earn money, earn wealth. It is required for the family. Accumulating wealth. Padmavati nadira taranga shobhati uttama pulina yena upavana tathi. Now, after describing the wonderful qualities of Srimati Lakshmi Priya Devi, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is describing the travel of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu to Bangladesh, and now he is describing the glory and the beauty of Sri Padmavati Nadi, the river Padmavati. Padmavati Nadira Taranga Shobhati. The current of the Padmavati river is most charming. Uttama Pulina Yena Upavana Tathi. And her banks, Pulina, her banks are also very beautiful. Uttama Pulina. And they are covered with beautiful small forest groves. Upavana Tathi. Upavana means sub-forests. Vana means forest. Dekhi Padmavati Prabhu Mahakutuhale Ganasaha Snana Kari Lena Tara Jale. Seeing the Padmavati river, Shri Nimai happily took bath along with his students in the Padmavati river. Bhagyavati Padmavati Sei Dina Haite Yogya Haila Sarvaloka Pavitra Karite. What beautiful poetry. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Mahasaya is saying, since Nimai took bath in Padmavati river, she became very fortunate. Bhagyavati. Bhagyavati Padmavati Sei Dina Haite. Since that day, the fortunate Padmavati river became very fortunate, and Yogya Haila Sarvaloka Pavitra Karite. Not just that Padmavati river became fortunate, it became fit to sanctify the entire world. Yogya Haila Sarvaloka Pavitra Karite. Because Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took bath. Srila Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada writes, when Gaura Sundar took bath in the Padmavati river, she at once became most fortunate and she became the deliverer of all. Now listen carefully. Although the emanation of the Ganga from the lotus feet of Vishnu indicates her quality of delivering people and destroying sin, the moment the Lord personally and directly immersed and bathed in the Padmavati river, whose ability for delivering fallen souls was not as great as Ganga, but by the touch of Gauranga Mahaprabhu's feet, she became equal to Ganga in her ability to purify the people and destroy the sinful reactions of Kali. This is the effect of Mahaprabhu. Padmavati Nadi Ati Dekhite Sundara Taranga Pulina Srota Ati Manohara. The The Padmavati river appeared most beautiful, being decorated with enchanting waves, banks, and flowing current. Padmavati dekhi Prabhu Parama Harishe, sei sthane rahile na tara bhagyavashe. Sri Nimai was so pleased to see the Padmavati river that he remained there for a few days to increase the good fortune of Padmavati river. Yena krida karilena janavi rajale, शिष्यगण सहित परम कुतूहले सेई भाग्य एबे पाइले न पद्मावती प्रतिदिन प्रभु जल क्रीड़ा करे तथी. Just as Shri Nimai had joyfully performed his water sports in the Ganga river with his students, now the Padmavati river achieved the same good fortune as the Lord daily sported in her waters with his students. Last verse. Last two verses, 66 and 67. Bangladeshe Gaurachandra Karila Pravesha Adyapi Hasei Bhagye Dhanya Bangladesha Padmavati Tire Rahilena Gaurachandra Shuni Sarva Loka Bada Haila Ananda. Because Shri Gaurachandra entered East Bengal, Bangladesh, it is considered glorious even today. Holy place. There is Bangladesh Yatra, and so much preaching is going on. Padmavati tire rahilena Gaurachandra Shuni sarva loka bada haila ananda. People were overjoyed to hear that Shri Gaurachandra from Navadvip was staying on the banks of Padmavati river. Then what happens? We will see, Krishna willing, next Sunday. So we stopped at verse 67 today. Shri Caitanya Bhāgavata ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Das Thakur Mahashay ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions or comments? Yes, Divya Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. We speak about women should always be under protection of either husband or father. So why, or son? So why didn't that apply to Sachi Mata and Vishnupriya Devi? Because Lord took sannyas and there was no male at home. So
there were two males at home. One was Ishan. He was the personal servant of the family, even at the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was a householder. And Ishan stayed back and he continued to serve Shachi Mata and Vishnupriya Devi for the rest of his life. And the second servant was, he was the assistant of Ishan, and his name was Shri Vamshi Vadana Thakur. And they were there always to protect and make sure everything was okay. So Ishan and Vamshi Vadana Thakur both were there. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, but since Lord took sannyas, and I don't think those time women used to work. So, you know, I mean, like who would provide for the family if Mahaprabhu took sannyas?
So Mahaprabhu has had many very close friends and well-wishers like Advaita Acharya, Srivas Thakur, and Shivananda Sen. So many were there, and they all took care. So Shachi Mata and Vishnupriya Devi, they were taken care of. And in those days, people were very simple. So they just needed some food and some clothes to cover. The house was already there. And they lived a very simple life, very austere life, always thinking of their son. Shachi Mata was thinking of her son, and Vishnupriya Devi was always thinking of her husband, Shri Gaura Sundar. And they lived their life in a very simple way, but they were well taken care of. Is that okay, Devi Mataji? So Mahaprabhu made sure that they were well taken care of by the friends and well-wishers.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions? If not, we can end. Muktadanga Prabhu, I don't think there are any more questions.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki
Yeah.
Jai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol.